Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be with you all this evening. We have our guest host today, Elder Unita Ruth. We're going to be talking about, if you guys saw the flyer earlier, we're going to be talking about between the singles. So we're just going to be having a conversation about being single and some of the things that we noticed and how people handle single people and different things of that nature. So we're going to bring Yanita on. What's up, Elder?
Hello, how are you?
And so, guys, if you want to please share the room, I'm going to, y'all, make sure y'all share the broadcast. If you're looking at the replay, we really appreciate y'all. Um, so, Ruth, I'm going to unlock, I don't know why my stuff does this. The privacy setting, it automatically goes to private, and I have to make it public. I just made it public on my page.
Okay, I'm getting ready to share myself.
I'm going to share it and women headed in the right direction as well. Let me refresh this. And then we're going to go ahead and make it happen. And normally when I hit share, I'll just copy the link and then I'm going to go ahead in the right direction and share it there as well. I think I have it on the other pages. Let me put here, join us. Between the singles. Okay, Ruth, that I shared. So Ruth, share it on as many platforms if you want. And then we're gonna like we said, we thank you all. We know this was at the last minute. So even if we don't have anybody watching us live and you're gonna watch the replay, we thank you so much for watching the replay. Her and I we were having our own private conversation, and I thought the conversation would be great to have on live. So those that will eventually watch, eventually while we're on, that you all are privy to this conversation as well. We think it's important to have conversations about being single because of what I believe, we both believe, what the enemy is trying to, I don't know, it's almost like he's trying to control the narrative of singlehood and what that is and what it means and all that kind of stuff. So what we want to do as ministers of the gospel is really come in and have a candid conversation because for one, we both are single. Now, I was married before for 8 years and divorced. Unita has never been married. So got two different perspectives here. So we felt that this conversation would be balanced when it comes to talking about the conversation between singles.
Yes.
Ruth, I done shared all the good stuff. And so, Ruth, let's jump right
and then we want to add that by both of us being in the kingdom of God and serving, that brings on a different, that's also a bonus and a different conversation as well. Because a lot of times, if you're not in the kingdom, if you're not saved and you're single, that's different from being saved and single. Not better, just different.
Just different.
Conversation is different. Yes.
Correct. 100%. So one of the things, first of all, the first thing you need to tell me, how do you feel about, well, let me see how I want to ask this question. Do you think, because you and I discussed this, do you think that singleness, do you think that getting married is a promotion?
No, I don't think that marriage is getting a promotion because, as we know, God didn't call everyone to be married. There are some people that He have called and have destined to be single. So, what if marriage is a promotion? Then what does that say about those that He have called to be single?
So, right? Jesus wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, in my opinion, I don't see that marriage is a promotion. And then let's take a think about it. There are some people who don't want to be married. Some
Right.
people are satisfied with their life the way that it is. So I say each one's own. It's about what it is that you desire and what it is that you want for your life.
Correct. And the reason why I'm so glad you answered that question in that way, because it is, I do think, and I think what has happened is, I think uh, the church society and just society in general has made marriage an idol,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What do I mean by this? Made an idol is as in if you are not, is no way you can be whole, validated, living a good life unless you are married,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
that's how, to be honest with you, that's how a lot of kingdom, and I'm not gonna say a lot of kingdom marriages, but a lot of people that are married, especially in the church world, that's how they come off.
Right.
They come off as if being not being married is some type of disease, or it is something that that or they see you not the same, right? They see you not the same or less than. They begin to treat you in a way as an if, well, if you're not married, well, first of all, marriage is not, like you said, marriage is not a promotion. It's first of all, it's the status. You either married or you're not,
Right.
right? And so it's not a promotion. It's just a different status. What you do as a single person, you don't necessarily do as a married person, because you have somebody else that you have to you have to consider. My issue is where the validation piece comes in,
Mm-hmm.
because people begin to yet now determine that, how their worth and their validation based on a marital status, and that's where I think it becomes idolatry, and that they do not understand that. That your validation is in Christ alone. It has nothing to do with whether you're married, what you
Right.
do, how you do it, how many degrees you get. It None of that stuff matters,
Nothing.
because validation is in Christ alone. Go ahead, Ruth.
And so, and then let's, if we take it a little further than that, not only do, and it is not all church people, but
And
there
all
is,
married
it,
people.
yeah, it's not all church people, not all married people. It's a select few, but
Right.
there are some. But let's think about it. Most of the time, I don't even know whether they feel as if though they are higher because that. But let's think about it. Most of them don't think that we can be kept because we're single. Because from ever, I've always heard, oh, you got to live right, you got to do this, and you can't do that. They think, and this is my own experience, is that they feel as if though if you are single and you're in God, that God just can't keep you. In other words, they always put sex on our lives. When the truth of the matter is, there are some of us that God has kept, and we've gotten into so much into God that sometimes sex don't even cross our mind.
And some of that has to do with the fact that some of it has to do with the fact that we're women, right? Because
Yes.
women don't think about sex as much as men. They just don't. And that's statistically proven, that is not that the way that we think. It doesn't mean that we don't want it. It's just that it's just not on our mind as
Mm-hmm.
much as men. And I do agree. I think that people. I think the issue has become, because marriage has become they've made it idolatry. A lot of our young people. The issue is that a lot of our young people are falling into the trap of not feeling whole, validated, um,
Mm-hmm.
very insecure, lack of confidence, because they're not married, or because they don't have a man.
Right.
And that is my issue. My issue is that I don't want our young people, our young adult women around here stressed out, worrying about getting a husband, because somehow they believe that brings some level of validation.
Right.
And what the reality of it is, and they're not being honest and not being truthful, since I was married for 8 years, they're not really telling you the truth about how how marriage is one of those things that you have to be prepared for emotionally.
Yes.
Now, you won't totally be prepared, but I
Right.
do think that there's a certain level of maturity that you need to have emotionally to even step into marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I talked about earlier. First of all, let me say this, from the marriage standpoint, since I was married, that number one, marriage is a call to service, and
Yeah.
most people are selfish.
Right.
Let's just
Right.
let's
That's
just let's just first make that first distinction, and that's whether most people are selfish, and men are, for the most part, are selfish by nature, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have to intentionally not be selfish because they'll automatically think about themselves. But people in general are selfish, and I think when you do not understand, you got to be able to understand that when you decide that you want to be in a relationship, and I'm not even saying talking about even you want to get married at that moment, but if you decide that you want to be in a relationship, the first thing you're called to serve. And if you're not called, and if you don't understand the call to serve, you should
Yes.
be getting into no relationship anyway. I'm just saying, some of you collecting data. I do think you should collect data, and I think I said this to you before. Some of the mistakes that I have made, I'm not sure about you, you need to, but some of the mistakes that I have made is calling a relationship God too early.
Mm. Mm.
Calling a relationship
Mm-hmm.
God
Mm-hmm.
too early, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you meet the person, you automatically think that this is God. No, I think what you have to do, and I'm guilty of this myself, you cannot meet someone and then automatically say, okay, this is God. You need to begin to see the fruit
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
the person before determining if this person is a good fit for you.
Right.
Blessing. Thank you so much, Priesta, for joining us. You need to first make sure that this person, the fruits are there before you start saying this is God. I think this relationship is God, because I think what happens is that people love bomb you at the beginning. They pretend that they're something that they're not,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you can't really see the real them until what, about 3 months later. I say about 3 months later, the real them becomes
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Have to.
uh, prevalent. But guess what? Even if they don't show themselves up in 3 months, you just keep praying and asking
That's
God,
it.
bring the hidden things to light. Let me see who this
That's
person
it.
really is.
Yes.
When
Yes.
trust me, they gonna start coming out who they are or
Yes.
why they're there, right? Is going to show up. Ruth, I want you to touch on that, but after you touch on that, I also want you to talk about the importance of how it is important how people show up in the relationship, right? Some of the things, I'm not saying what they're saying with their mouth.
Right.
I'm saying how they show up.
You're right. And so one of the, God bring all hidden things to light is probably one of my best one of my best prayers, because
That's prayer.
I I have literally witnessed the fact that when I ask God to bring all hidden things to light, you can almost guarantee it won't take long before things begin to reveal itself. And I say to people when they ask me and I give them this prayer, I say, listen, but you have to be ready for what things are revealed. If you say God bring all hidden things to light, you have to be ready and prepared for whatever comes that way, because he's gonna do it. And then when you see it, you
Come on.
can't ignore it. You have to take it face value, because it's what it is. And so for me, like you said, I've never been married. And for me, it's a double thing for me. I've never been married and I don't have children. I've had to accept the fact that I will not carry any children, and that's by choice, because people of other ages carrying kids at 60 and all. That's just not
I'm
what I
not going to
choose
do
to
that. Yeah.
do. That's not what I choose to do. But I would say this is that uh, there are certain things we as single people we're looking for. We have to know what we're looking for. And I've had to go to God, because I've been by myself this long. So I've had to really go to God and say, God, I need to understand what it is that I'm looking for in a partner. Because, as you say, most of us are selfish. Well, when you've been by yourself for so long, you haven't had to worry about sharing. Your space is your space. I've begun to pray already because I know how I am when people invade my space. Okay, so I've already had to pray and say, God, I need you to help me because I want to be married, but I also like my space. Okay, so for me, I believe that when a person shows up before you, you see, and when you see things that you already don't like, I believe that those things ought to be addressed, and I think there's a way to address those things. I think communication, of course, is always top key for me because sometimes people don't know what you're looking for. People don't know what you want. So I've always heard, you teach people how to treat you. And then once you have that conversation, and if that person take heed, if the person really love you, the person is really going to take heed to what you're saying and going to do everything they can to avoid that situation again. To avoid, because if anybody that want you ought to want to make you happy. And I think that ought to. And I think it goes both ways. I think you ought to make that person happy. I hear a happy what they say, a happy wife, a happy house. What I believe I believe both people should be happy. I don't think just the wife ought to be happy. I think people ought to strive to have a happy home, and that's with both people being happy.
Correct. Well, that's what I'm saying. The relationship of any kind has to answer the call to service.
To service. And if you don't know what that servant is, but let's talk about it. How does God call us to serve?
Ooh, I feel that.
Because we have to base everything on the word of God. I believe that marriages ought to model what God has called us to do in the kingdom. So if we're already servants in the kingdom of God, then you take that another step further and learn how to serve. So how do you serve? And I'm only talking from a single standpoint, but how do you serve your mate? How would you say, B, from your end, how would you say that you served in your marriage? What was it to you to serve?
Well, okay. So first of all, let me say to you, when it comes to my marriage, there are a lot of things. Okay. So for those who do not know, I was married for 8 years before divorcing. And one of the things that I realized when I first got married, I thought I was real spiritual, right? I did. I thought I was, I got my relationship with the Lord. I praise, I got a relationship with the Lord. We are ace, boom, boom, right? And so after I got married, there's a part of me that came out of me that I didn't know that was there. And what I realized at that point, and I'm gonna go into how is it that you serve.
Mm-hmm.
Once I realized at that point, I remember calling my sister and saying, "Hey, I don't believe I'm saved because ain't nobody saved." Acting a fool like I'm acting. Now no. What I need to do is give my life to the Lord. That's what I need to do. And my sister started laughing because I saw a part of me that I didn't know that was still there. That was very carnal. That emotionally immature, from brokenness, from my childhood, seeing my father as a person that was a street guy. And so as a result of my parents' relationship, I didn't fully understand the level of brokenness that I had, even going into my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize that until I got in there. And once I got there and I saw how back crazy I was, okay? And when I mean back crazy, when I thought I was showing up saving, I I ain't seen no fruits of the spirit when I was like, what in the, who is this person? So I'm thinking I'm in a place where I'm not.
Wow. Wow.
See, this is why I'm always saying you can't live a lie.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because it's going to eventually come out.
It
So
will.
I noticed that I really did not have the fruits of the spirit, the ones that I was preaching and teaching about, to more how much I love the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirits didn't come out when I was dealing with my husband at the time.
Right.
It is when I knew then that I was really believing in a gospel that I wasn't really living.
Wow.
Right. And so it was at that time that I began my journey of really searching on what is it, what this, first of all, the seriousness of a covenant marriage, because God takes it very serious.
Yeah.
And that's why Unita and I are on here, because one of the things that we want you to understand, that's not a decision you make lightly, because when you make that decision, and I'm talking about in God, uh, God holds you responsible for the decision that you make to come together with someone, and because what you're saying to God, that I'm ready to answer the call to serve.
Yes.
Not I'm ready to answer the call to be selfish.
Yes.
And so I do not think that we are prepared enough, Unita. Most people are not prepared enough. They
I
do not
agree.
have soft skills. They do not have emotional maturity, and they're selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Those three things a relationship cannot survive.
And then, but then also, what do we, how are we taught? You know what? Because a lot of people don't want to deal with this. They want to be married, but they don't want to deal with what does it actually take to not to be married, but to stay married.
To 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 actually stay married, and
Yeah.
the number one thing that you need to be able to stay married, that I have learned throughout my journey into my 50s, you need to have humility.
Yeah.
And you need to have honor, and you need to have respect,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to know how to treat people.
Right.
I think too many people enter into relationships for their own selfish needs.
Wow.
This is what happens, y'all. When you enter into a relationship with your own selfish needs, it may not rear its head up in the first year. It may not rear its head up in the second year. But eventually, the head of selfishness is going to be the head of your relationship.
That's it.
And the relationship will not be able to survive it
Right.
unless the selfish person is willing to Ruth, what I want to say, humble themselves
Yes.
and really answer the call to serve. This is what I was telling you, Nita, just before we got on the line. Everybody, when you decided you're going to be in a relationship, both parties are called you're called to serve, to
Right.
serve. If you both are not, if you only one person is serving and the other person is not, you're not going to be able to survive that.
No.
Because at some point you're going to get resentful. At some point, listen, I'm not serving you so you can serve me. No, we both are called to answer the call to serve. So if I'm only serving and you're not serving, especially if you're dating, why would you stay in a relationship like that? I don't care if it's a male or female. If you're walking into the relationship to answer the call or serve, and the other person is not answering that call, don't waste your time in the relationship. I'm not saying jump in and out, Ruth. I'm not saying, because see, some people, as soon as they see the first sign of trouble, they jump, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about collecting data. Watch this person long enough. And I told you, Nita, this is my fault too. This is one of the things that I've learned. Stop calling the relationship God until you begin to see the fruit of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you'll know if it's God or not. You'll know if God sent you that relationship. But if you're in a relationship and you're the only one serving, you're the only one going out of your way, you're the only one giving, and the person think their job is just to come and receive and tell you how to submit to them, and they have zero clue what it is to love you like Christ loved the church, you need to get out of that relationship. I don't care what they're saying with their mouth. Women have a tendency, Anita, I've seen over and over. We have so much low self-esteem. We have low confidence. Our validation and is in all of these things: marriage, money, clothes, shoes, and
Yes.
our validation be in Christ alone. Because our validation is in all these false gods, that's how we end up with someone, right, that cares nothing about us, that devalue us, because because it's that false idealization that we have, where validation comes from, where now when somebody come into our life with that same kind of spirit, we just accept them instead of collecting data and say, no, after I looked at all the data, God did not send this person to me, because we are both called to serve.
Right. And see, what happens is when one is serving and the other one's not, eventually one is going to get tired. They're going to get burnt out. They're going to get mad. They're going to get frustrated because they're not getting anything in return. And it's not that they're doing something they're not serving you. Like you said, they're not serving you in order for you to serve them, but both people should be serving and both people should be edified in the midst of this relationship. And my thing is, once you see that this person has no interest in serving you,
you got to go.
Then you just get on, you exit left, exit right, just exit. Because
I won't get in trouble with the Lord. Now, we ain't talking about y'all married.
Not the married people, please.
We talking to single people. Y'all married people, now, we praying for you.
Yeah, okay? Yeah.
If you're in that situation, we praying for you.
Yes.
That God give you direction.
Right.
You go on the counseling, go get your therapy, and they'll help you navigate that space. But we are talking to single people that are dating and in relationships that they don't have to be in, when they can just decide, no, this relationship is does not serve me, and so I need to make sure. This is why I'm saying that we have to be careful calling things God when it's not God, because we have not seen the fruit of that person yet and the fruit of that relationship. Another one of my big pet peeves when it comes to relationships, let's say, and I'm talking about with women, this is one of the ways that you can tell. And then we'll talk about some of the ways that men can tell, because I can help men understand. You don't need to be with somebody, first of all, who don't care nothing about you. And how can you determine that? You can determine that by the fact that how she shows up for you. When it comes to stuff about you, they drag their feet, they take their time. But then they think your job is to be their financial plan.
Right.
She don't honor you. She don't respect you. She try to control you, and you single. Explain to me why are you putting up with that?
Why?
You need to let her go. God don't have a shortage of women, nor men. So you don't have to devalue yourself to be with somebody who do not understand value. And guess what? You are not a therapist. You're not a doctor. Stop trying to diagnose them and realize that they're not a good fit for you, and get rid of them.
Because listen, there is somebody out there for you. That's just the truth. And you have to understand, and you have to believe, and you have to trust God, that though they may not be present right now, though it may not be manifested right now, that God knows what he's doing. And that has been me. God, listen, you know what you're doing. You know better than I know. And you have to trust that there's somebody. So you don't have to accept something that's not right for you. Men don't have to accept women that they see is not a good fit for them. Women do not have to accept men that are not a good fit for them. We don't have to settle, because guess what? There is somebody out there that's going to love you for you. And stop doing all this extra. If you want to lose weight, lose it. Okay. If you want to get all this Botox and body sculpture and change it, do it. But do it for you. Don't do it to attract a man now. Because the truth of it, man, there's somebody out there that love you just for what you look like, just for what you wear, just for how you act. There's somebody out there created just for you. And so all of this extra, I told you, I had them tell me, oh, men don't like women with a short haircut. I said, well, then they ain't going to like me then, because I cut mine off. Every time I get a chance, I cut it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And it is hard, because I'm going to tell you something, B. Society, people would do this to you. People would give you all of this, that. Well, if you're gonna get a man, you got to do this. If you're gonna do a man, you got to do that. All of this. And if you hear that constantly, you'll begin to think that everything that you got to change. Every time you tell me you're changing, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and you're doing that. And I said to somebody one day, listen, who I am is who I am. I'm not changing no hair. I'm not changing. When I decide to get on the weight loss journey, I'm gonna get on the weight loss journey.
Come on, Ruth.
Okay. If I decide to do that, that's what I'm gonna do. Right. And I know listen, if you want to get your mouth fixed, get it fixed. Okay. However, all of this that people relate to, this is why I even had somebody say, well, you don't have a man because you don't do that. What? Are y'all crazy? Do you literally think that God would have us to do all of this? That God doesn't know who we are and what we look like, that he ain't good enough to create somebody for us? Now listen, it's a different thing if it's been in your spirit and you want to change something about yourself. Do it. Do that. But don't do it for the sake of getting a spouse. Don't do it for the sake of trying to attract a man. I believe that every time you go out the door, you ought to look your best.
Listen,
whatever the best is for you. I don't let my bad day catch me outside. It may catch me in the inside, but it don't catch me outside. So I do. I think you ought to live the best everywhere you go, because you don't ever know who you're going to meet. You ought to be ready when, even if somebody is coming to approach you, you ought to be presentable. You ought to be ready. Your hair ought to be done. You ought to have on nice clothes. You just ought to be ready. And I
agree.
Yeah, you just do. Now listen, we all want what we want. Listen, a man know what kind of woman that he's attracted to. Women know what kind of men that they are attracted to. And so you got to at least give them something to work with. You got to, my first thing is I need to be attracted to you.
Yes, but you know what, Ruth? One of the things that I have learned is that I will not allow attraction to be the first decision for me.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you why. Because I've lived long enough. Now it matters, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily have to think that you are attractive physically for me to be attracted to you physically, because there can be other things about you that I find very attractive.
Yes.
That will make me attractive to you physically. Although I may not think that you are excuse me, attractive initially.
Right.
Right. And I'm kind of, but if I go back, because there will be a lot of people that I wouldn't have talked to if I went back that first.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just, I'm just being honest. If I would have gone by the physical first, I would have never given them a chance, or never opened up the door to have a conversation, because I didn't think those people were physically attractive.
Okay.
But I've been in this thing long enough to know that I think you need to go beyond what you see to first see. And I'm saying, if you can handle what you see, you may not find them attractive, but still, can you handle it? Yeah. You know, could you wake up beside them in the morning, right?
Right.
And not feel repulsed in some way. If you can do that, then I think it would be foolish not to have conversations with those people, right? Or with those men, without to see what's on the inside of them, what's in them.
Because you know, I've had conversations with people, and the outer appearance never even really like what you call appeared to me, because of the conversation that we were having.
Correct.
And so I agree that it doesn't have to. You have to have some type of attraction, whether it's physical or whether it's a character, whether you're attracted to them mentally. Or, you got to have something that's going to draw you to them. But I've met people that I'm like you. I probably wouldn't, if I had just looked at it. I'd be like, and I would have went on. But because of the conversation that we had,
correct,
it went beyond what they look like physically. I mean,
yes, I can tell you right now, I would choose someone that I don't necessarily think that's physically attractive, if they treat me really well.
If they treat you well, that's the key.
If they treat me really well, they do not devalue me. They show me, they treat me with honor. They treat me with respect.
Yeah.
They listen to me. I listen to them. We work as a team. Their
Yes.
physical appearance will not dictate to me whether or not I will say I do. What will dictate to me whether you're physically attractive or unattractive to me? I will not marry someone that does not know how to treat me.
No, ma'am.
Will not marry someone that says to me, if you act like a dude, I'll treat you like a dude. Because to me, that is one of the most immature things that you can say as a man to a woman, because the woman may not even know that she's even giving off masculine energy.
Right.
You want me to lead, you want me to allow you to lead me after you done said, if you act like a dude, I'm gonna treat you like a dude. Well, I'm not interested in a guy that wants to be abusive towards me because somehow he has in his mind that I'm intentionally trying to be, I'm trying to act like a dude or give off masculine energy. And this is what I'm saying. It's the same thing with a male that's listening. I would not date a woman that would jump up in my face,
Right.
jump up in your face and, well, what you gonna do, baby? You need to let her go. She's back crazy. You don't want to deal. She's abusive. You don't want to deal with that. And they need to know her emotions, how she's emotionally immature. And I think people with that type of mindset are very emotionally immature and Ruth, and they do not know how to de-escalate
Right.
confrontation or disagreement. And what they will do, they will gaslight you no matter how much you tell them your heartfelt observation of how they're showing up in your life. They will use your heartfelt conversation with them and gaslight you and turn around and,
Yes.
oh, you said this, and then try to make it about them.
Right.
You don't have time for that. That shows that they do not have any relationship skills. They do not have the skill set to be able to have an intelligent conversation. They do not have the skill set to be gentle
Right.
towards you and say, okay, I hear your heart. I see what you're saying. I didn't realize I was doing this. You don't want somebody that's not humble.
No, you don't.
And that's vice versa, whether it's a woman or it's a man. You don't want those type of people in your life. And stop dating women that's gonna jump up in your face and act like she bat crazy. Why would you even be attracted to that? I don't care how good her private parts are.
Right.
It's going to be enough. She's gonna drain the self-confidence that you do have. She's gonna make you think that nothing you do will ever be good enough.
Right.
Wasting your time with someone that person is broken and need therapy. Like I always say, I think everybody needs therapy because there's some traumatizing stuff that you experience, whether you experienced it when you were young or throughout your lifetime. You need someone to help navigate your thought process through all the stuff that you have gone through.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And that something doesn't bother you. No, you got to go get that stuff out, right? And I didn't have that wisdom. And although I had premarital counseling prior to, I still didn't have the in-depth counseling that I needed to have individually before stepping into a relationship.
Right.
That will always be my advice to a male or a female. You need to go to counseling individually and say, hey, listen, I want to be married, but I believe there's some things about me that I need to get straightened out.
Right.
And I am telling you, don't devalue yourself just to be in a relationship. Don't let somebody come in that doesn't understand value. That's not your problem. You ain't got time to constantly teach them how to love you. And then let me tell you another thing, Ruth, that I noticed. When you're saying to them, hey, this is how I need to be loved, or this is what my love language is, and
Mhm.
they won't respond to that, they do not want to be with you. What they want is whatever you can give them.
Right. And so one of the other things we talked about earlier is that sometimes uh, men do not have, or they don't, um, they don't have what you need at the time. However, if they are willing to
Correct.
try, if you say, this is what I need, and they're willing to try and they're willing to learn, because sometimes let's just face it, some men haven't been taught a thing that they have anybody to teach them. It was just generation by generation by generation. They don't have what it takes. Okay. However, if they are willing, like you say, if they are willing to learn and to try to learn how to be that person that you need, then guess what? They may very well be worth keeping. But if you find a person that's not, they don't have it, they don't want to admit that they don't have it, and they're not even trying to get it, then guess what? You need to exit. I'm telling you, kid, it's
You gotta go.
exit. Just exit. Because guess what? You're fighting a losing battle.
You
You,
correct.
they won't admit that they're wrong. You tell them that, this is what I need you to do. And for heaven's sake, if they deny going to counseling, oh, we don't need all that. I don't need nobody in my business, da, da, da. But you're going to continue to go around in the same circle. Let him go in that circle by himself.
Yeah.
Don't you be a link to that circle. You break the link, okay? Don't even try that, because you're fighting a losing battle. Because again, if anybody, I always hear people say, oh, well, yeah, we're talking, but he's busy at work and he's just, no. I believe this. Anybody that wants to be with you will make time to be with you.
Period.
I don't care how busy you are. And that goes for a woman. If you want to be with a man, you will make the time. If you don't have the time, you will find the time. But you're going to find a way to communicate. That if it's nothing but picking up the phone saying, hi, I'm thinking about you today, you're going to find time. Because guess what? When we want our relationship with God, what do? We make time to be with him. In order for us to even serve, guess what? We're spending time with God. It's the same way when you get in a relationship. In order to know that person, you must spend time with that person. And you can't say, I'm busy, I'm traveling, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. That means that right now, you're not ready for this relationship. You might be ready for a relationship, but just not this one with me. And I tell people off the time, listen, I want time. I'm gonna tell you, I don't hide it. I don't hide it. I want time, and you must make time for me. You do. And if you don't have that time for me, and guess what? I'm just as busy probably as the next person, with my job, with ministry, with everything. But I promise you, I'll make that time. If I see that it's something that I want, I'll make that time for you. And that's what I ask for. If the first thing they ask me, what is it that you're looking for? Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking for marriage. I'm looking to be married. I'm not looking to date 2-3 years. At my age, I don't want to date 2 or 3 years. I'm looking to be married, but I'm also looking to take my time to see if we are the right fit. I don't want to be married just to be married. And when I'm married, I want to be married to stay married. I don't want to be married to divorce. Divorce is not something that I'm coming into the relationship with.
That's right.
Because I don't want to think about divorce. If we're mad, then guess what? We're going to sit down and we're going to work on it till we get it together. But it ain't we're just going to divorce. No, that's not the answer. Divorce is not the answer for me. And so this journey, I've had a long time. I've had a long time to try to work on myself. You know what I mean? And I've had to accept some things about me that I know would destroy a marriage right off the bat. The
Both.
first thing, the first thing is I had to learn to control my mouth because I'm quick at the draw.
Y'all, she out of control sometimes. Let me tell you. She got a little strong, and I have to say, God, she didn't mean it. She didn't mean it in that way.
I mean it. Yeah. And so I've had to learn it, and I'll tell you, God has broken me, and I'm gonna say this to you. He didn't break me in the way of relationship as far as man in a relationship with a man. My brokenness came by way of being elevated on my job and had to supervise people.
Come on.
So after a while, when people are saying the same thing, you have to understand that it's not the people, it's you.
It's your crazy.
It's you and your mouth and your attitude and your disposition. It's you, which the sanctified speaking in tongues said. It's you.
It's you.
And so I had to ask God, now, these people are saying the same thing. Now, if this test is for me, it's for you, it's for me to be broken in some areas, then I'll accept it. If it's of the devil, I'm gonna need you to get them on out, right? Nothing changed. Guess what I discovered? This was about me. They were being used, but it was just to show me about me.
Right.
And when I humbled myself and said, God, you're gonna have to help me because this right here won't last in nobody's relationship. I'm gonna need you to help me. But I'm telling you, when I humbled myself and took responsibility for me and my actions,
yes,
I'm telling you, the burden that was on my shoulders lifted off of me. And I'll tell you, I said that was something for me. I said I knew that was something for me, and I believe that He used that on the job, but it will extend in every relationship I have in my life.
Correct.
In every relationship, it doesn't matter how God break you, as long as He break you, and you got to be willing to want to be broken to be better, because that's what it is. You're not broken to just stay broke. You're broken to be better.
Correct.
And what I found, and then I went and got myself a mentor. I mean, I needed some professional help. I needed all kinds of things. But that was me taking responsibility for me and my own actions and knowing what it is that I need, not just for marriage or relationship, but just for my life. In ministry, you need it. Because you can't deal with people any kind of way in ministry. You got to be able to know how to treat people, even in the kingdom, even when you're out here ministering to people. You got to know how to treat people. So I just believe that my brokenness wasn't just for a relationship. It wasn't just for when I get married, but it was for my life.
Correct. Well, guess what? It doesn't really matter what relationship it is, and this is one of the things that I've said to people. It doesn't really matter what relationship that it is. The issue is that relationships are mirrors.
Yeah.
So whether it's a job whether it's a relationship on the job, whether it's a relationship with just girlfriends, or whether a relationship with a male or a female. What I'm saying, and I'm talking about with the male and female, because we believe in male and female over here.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that no matter what relationship, whether it's sisters and brothers, it doesn't matter what relationship it is a mirror. And when you do not have the capacity to hear how you show up in a relationship, then you don't need to be in a relationship.
No.
Right? You have to have the capacity to be able to hear how you show up in a relationship and hear that from someone that sincerely loves you, sincerely want the best for you. And when they're saying to you, you're showing up this way, you have to be willing to hear what that is and then begin to humble yourself in that, and then say, okay, God, I need to do better in this area. Can you help me? But when someone comes to you, because let me tell you what is the most foolish thing that you think you can do. Number one, you don't know how good of a girlfriend or boyfriend you are. You only know to some degree. You have to listen to the other person to let them tell you
Yeah.
how you are showing up because you ain't dating yourself. So how no
Right.
you're not dating yourself, so you don't really you know that you have a good nature and you know you do these things and you go out of your way and you know
Yes.
your essence, but you still have to hear the other person and how you showing up for them. And if that person, number one, is saying to you, this is the way that you're showing up for me, what you first of all need to do is have the capacity and the emotional maturity to be able to hear how you're showing up in a relationship. Because if you're not showing up in a relationship to grow and to become better, then why are you in it?
Right.
And what I'm saying is that most people walk into relationship to take. They're not interested in giving anything. They just want to take. They're selfish. They're ungrateful. And as soon as you see yourself and really who you are, you will begin to become a better person.
That's it.
Nobody should have to deal with you not wanting to deal, not wanting. You don't want to be accountable for your actions. You just want somebody to tolerate you. And let me tell you, and in this hour, let me make this very clear what God ain't doing. Hey, now let the prophet come out of me. All right, I'm gonna let the prophet come out of me today. What God ain't doing in this hour, if you can see, people are being exposed.
Yes. Yes.
And if you think you're gonna get into a relationship in these days and time with God's people, I'm talking about showing up God people. I ain't
Yes.
somebody who playing around with the Lord. They tell me I think I love the Lord. They ain't got you love them till you got to show them fruits of the spirit
Right.
towards somebody that you don't want to.
Right. Right.
I'm talking about somebody who's showing up, save and love God. God gonna start exposing you to those people around you and what your motives are, why you're there, what you're coming up in here for. What is it that you're showing
Yep.
up? You're not coming to serve. What are you there for?
Mm-hmm. And see, and God is not allowing anyone to mistreat His people.
No more. Them days
He's
over.
not doing it anymore. It's when you have somebody that is in the kingdom and they really love God and they're serving God and they're giving their heart. God is not allowing anyone, whether it's a man, whether it's another a girlfriend that you have, whether it's a male friend, and just as a friend, He's now allowing those people to come in with their hidden agendas and their alternative motives. He's not doing it. He's gonna show you, and it's up to us to see it when God reveal it, and it's up to us to do what we need to do next. But I say, listen, listen, at my age, at our age, period, at our age, we don't have the time for all of this nonsense. Okay? Either you're gonna come and you're gonna come correct, and we're gonna grow and we're gonna grow together. We're gonna build and we're gonna build together. Or guess what? We're not gonna be.
Period.
It's just I'm sorry. I would rather stay single and continue to build. I would rather stay single and continue to travel. I would rather stay single and
Come on.
continue to do the things that I do. Because guess what? I don't have no boring single life. I don't know about anybody else, but I enjoy my singleness. Do
Come
I want to mate? Yes, I do. But until the Lord says so, I'm going to continue to fly. I'm going to continue to go. I'm going to continue to build these 130 girls that I have in my programs every single year. And I'm building them, and I'm shaping them, and I'm teaching them that they don't have to settle. I'm teaching them already at the 6th grade that they're beautiful. I'm teaching them at the 9th grade that they're powerful and they already are leaders, so that they won't have to go through some of the things that I went through, that we went through. And when they say, well, Miss, one girl told me, she said, Miss, I know I'm ugly. I said, baby, who told you that you was ugly? Because you didn't wake up with the words, I'm ugly. Who told you that? One girl just told me that she started my program this week. You know what she said to me? I feel like if I do everything perfect, then I won't be unlovable. Who told you that you were unlovable. See, if we allow that spirit,
come on.
Can you imagine? She's in the 8th grade. Can you imagine if that baby take that spirit throughout? What kind of man will she get?
Will she? But see, Ruth,
Will she have crack rather?
Well, correct. What she will, but Ruth, that's what I'm saying. I think we are not emotionally mature enough to understand that you have to go back to your childhood. See, the enemy comes after us when we're younger, and guess what? And sometimes he do it through our parents.
Yes.
Right? You have very dysfunctional parents. My parents were very dysfunctional, right? They had a very dysfunctional marriage. So then that's how the enemy came through, right, to get to the children. Y'all got to know how the enemy came after you from the beginning.
Yes.
You got to be able to tackle what is it that the enemy was trying to do from the beginning. What he was saying to me from the beginning, from a little child, you are not worthy enough. You're not valued enough for your father to remain faithful to your mother and be a good father and a good example for you all. And so what he began to do as a young child, he began to plant the seed that your validation is in some man. Your validation, because why? I saw my mother remain in one of the most abusive, demonic relationships that she should have never remained in. Why? Not abusive physically, but abusive emotionally in the way that he treated her. Not that he made some mistakes. No, I'm talking about throughout the marriage.
Right.
Because I can remember he was cheating, and I'm 55 years old.
Right.
And I'm before he died. So listen, since I can remember. So when what the spirit of adultery comes to do to a family, it comes to rip it apart. It comes to sow discord and the lack of self-esteem into the children. So now when these children become grown like us, Ruth, now we are attracting those same type of spirits. What is the main spirit that we are attracting? From my father, it's the spirit of selfishness. It don't care about nobody but itself. It's only there for its own need. It's only shown up because I just want you to serve me. That spirit of selfishness then becomes the head of all of your relationships. One thing I noticed that somebody that I meet, they are very selfish, like my father.
Wow.
Why? Because it is that spirit of selfishness that's trying to destroy and keep me from being able to have a relationship, right, that is prosperous, that is loving. But see, God done already spoke. So I ain't got to worry about that. I just know when I see the enemy bringing somebody, and when I see the spirit of selfishness sticking his head up, I know God didn't send that person.
Right. And see, yours was selfishness came from your father, because your mother and father was there. My mother and father separated when I was 1 year old. But guess what? Spirit followed me as a result of that. Abandonment.
Correct.
Abandonment followed me till I was at the conference, and this man who I of course don't know me called me out and said to me that you've been rejected and you've been abandoned. And because of that, every time you meet someone, you look at them and say, will you leave me too? And then they repel. They leave you. Because that's the spirit that it was upon me from my childhood. So I totally agree that you have to deal the root cause of a thing. Because sometimes for me, I didn't think anything of it. You know, my thing is, well, he was never there. So how can I miss? That's true, but you can miss something. There's still some type of spirit that comes along with it, whether you had a relationship or not. There's still some type of spirit that comes along with that relationship, and so I had to deal with it, because I'm like, you call this out, and from the depths of my soul, I had to let it go.
Well, the reality of it is, with that spirit of selfishness, right? Because see, when you selfish, It doesn't matter who you abandon. It doesn't matter who you reject.
That's
So
not
selfishness bring along all of those spirits, right? They come along. Selfishness is hooked up on rejection. It's hooked up on with abandonment. All those
yep.
come as a result of of selfishness, right? We experience those things through that spirit of selfishness. And one of the things, like I said to you earlier, one of the things that I noticed that the men that are interested in me, they are very selfish people. They
Wow.
want someone generous, but they themselves are not generous.
Mhm.
They are very selfish people. They are very self-absorbed. And so, in other words, they were not in the street like my father, but everything else about them was just like him. They were selfish, ungrateful. And see, and when you have that type of spirit that constantly showing his head up, that is God saying to you, I didn't send this one unless
Mhm.
this one right here is willing to take themselves to the altar, get delivered. Because see, sometimes what I realize, Ruth, and I realized this after I got married. See, you don't know how sometimes how broken you are and how wounded you are. You don't really know how you showing up until somebody has to confront you.
That's
But you
it.
cannot ignore the confrontation because you feel some type of way about it. You have to be willing to say, and I'm not saying that y'all we confront people in this degrading way and in
Right.
this way
Right.
of making them feel less than. No, you have to be willing to say, this is how I see you showing up for me. And I'm saying to you, I need more than that. And if they keep trying to tell you that they love you, but refuse to show up in the way that you need to be loved, they are lying to you. They
Yep.
do not want you. They are there for some other reason, but it is not, they are not there to serve you. It is that
Not.
selfishness. And what they don't realize, it is that spirit of selfishness that's keeping them from connecting to something that's authentic.
That's authentic. The word authentic.
So not
They
only
might connect to something, but it's
right,
not what's authentic.
correct. And so not only is that spirit following you, the person that's doing it, that's operating in this selfish spirit, has no. It doesn't mean that they intentionally or trying to maliciously operate in that spirit.
Right.
They could be bound by that selfish
That's
spirit
it.
and
Could
never
be.
have anyone to confront them about it. But once you have been confronted about it and then you do nothing about it, is where I have the issue. I don't care that you got it. I care about how you're going to handle it. And if you show me you're not going to do anything about it, and then you try to gaslight me and make me think I'm crazy, like I don't see what I see, or like I don't see how you showing up, then guess what? You got to go. I ain't mad about it. You just ain't the one, and I'm cool with it. If you think I'm gonna sit up here and let you devalue me for the sake of companionship, you got me confused because
Right.
my validation is in Christ alone, and it will always be. I don't need a man to feel validated. I
Nope.
don't need a man to make me feel good about myself. God tell me every morning that I'm fine and that I look good and that He's proud of me and I'm a royal priesthood and that I got it going on
Right.
and that He's chosen me. I'm just not called, but I'm chosen. I don't have to have that validation from you, but I'm not going to allow you to show up in my life and don't answer the call to service.
Right. You know what? It's just like this friend of mine. When friend over 15 years I know, and we were talking and we began to pray about what is this, because we've been, I mean, shown up just friends, but he's single, I'm single, we both in ministry, he's pastor, whole 9 yards. We begin to, I said, let's see if we're to remain just friends or if there could be something in this. Okay, he gonna pray, but what got me is that
What got you, Ruth? What got
every time he prayed, he come back with some deep revelation about me and what I needed. Well, well, what I'm trying to figure out is how
How you praying?
how you praying, but every time you come back, you're talking about me and never talking about yourself.
That's my point.
What did God tell you about you?
That's my point.
Because some of what you're telling me about me, first of all, it ain't no secret. I know me. I talk to God myself. So I ain't asked you to go pray about what's going on with me. I'm just trying to figure out. So guess what? About after the third time I asked him, he didn't answer. I said, I tell you what, God don't have to answer you. I will. Let's just be friends.
Period. Because let me tell you one thing.
And it's okay.
I'm giving you no deep revelation about how I need to submit, and God ain't telling you what you need to do as a husband to cover your family. So you can miss it. And anytime, I always say that's a red flag. Anytime a man comes into your life, constantly worrying about how you should submit, that's already a sign that he does not have the skill sets to be in a relationship. And that's a good sign that he's not humble enough to go to God and ask God, how can I be the best version of myself to this woman? If he learned more about your role than his own, that's already a red flag. Get rid of them, single people.
And I simply said to him, I'm not mad.
Let me say this. Y'all, we talking to single people. We're not talking to people who are married. If you already married, listen to me. You need to go to therapy and you need to go to counseling. We are talking to single people that are that's in the midst of dating and allowing people to show up in their lives. That we need to be very careful. And I don't care how old you are. Don't ever let a man make you think because you're older that God somehow has some type of shortage of men. God does not have a shortage of men. No. Men, God does not have a shortage of women. There are plenty authentic, loving women out here that want to submit to you, that want to honor you, and that want to respect you. Don't go with this thing about where people like, it ain't no good men, that's a lie. And well, there ain't no good women, that's a lie. God doesn't have a shortage of people. And what's happening is that too many people are entering into relationships without answering the call of service, and they're too selfish. Period.
Yep.
Selfishness will always be behind someone that's making the decision not to serve you.
That's it.
They're not doing it for the right reasons. I don't care what they're saying to you. They do not love you. No, they do not.
Because actions should follow their words.
How in the world you love me, and I say to you, I like praying. We ain't got to pray every week, but you don't want to pray at all. But that's what I like, though.
Right.
I like
it. Right. And even if you don't, if that's not a habit of yours, you will do it because of the person that you're interested in.
Well, and you ain't got to do it all the time. You just at least can oblige me in it.
That's it.
Why? Because that's what I like.
Right. I don't like to be outside. I don't like nothing about them trees, going out there camping. I don't like it.
I ain't been out there. I ain't been outside.
I don't want the mosquitoes.
I ain't a fan of it.
Yeah, I don't want the mosquitoes. I don't want any of that. But if there's someone in my life that says, well, I like going hiking.
I'm going hiking.
I'm going to go hiking. I'm going to get my boots. I'm going to get my shorts. I'm going to get whatever. I'm going hiking. You know why? Because that's an interest of them.
Come on.
That's an interest of them. So you're going to take one, as we say, take one for the team, And I think that's what works. I think that's what helps the relationships to grow. That's what helps the relationship to grow and to flourish. And you see, we may not always like what the other person is doing, but at least try.
At least try.
But
if you have decided, if you have decided that you just not going to show up and you're going to show up in the relationship however you want to. Very good. Very good. Goodbye.
Bye.
Y'all don't even have to. I don't understand why y'all fussing with people. I don't know why you're going back and forth with them. One day I just got a rebel boom. Wait a minute. This just doesn't make no sense. I'm out. What in the world? This don't make it doesn't make any common sense.
Right, none. You don't have to argue. And you don't have to argue and you don't have to be mad. You can make a decision that if that's the life that you want to live, that's fine. But I'm not going to be involved. Got to go.
I'm going to be involved in it.
Look, exit. Got to
exit. It was good knowing you. It was good knowing you. I'm not upset. I'm not mad, but I will not, under no circumstances, let you show up in this relationship any kind of way. You think you can do what you want to do. If you think I'm coming down there, no, you gonna come up. I'm not coming down there where you are. You gonna come up if you gonna be with me.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna tell me this is how you are. Well, good. This is how I am. Goodbye.
Yeah.
No, if you gonna come up, because I'm not coming down where you are.
Not doing it.
That's not gonna happen. Because God has done too much in me. I've submitted myself too much to the Lord. I've done too much work on myself as far as going to therapy, going to counseling. I think therapy is one of the best things that can ever happen to you. I consistently go to therapy. If I need a session, I go get one. The bottom line is I have done the work. I'm not going to let someone that come in that has not done the work call themselves devaluing me because they don't know how to value themselves. Because they don't understand, because their self-esteem is low, they try to make your self-esteem low. But that we ain't doing at my age.
Nope.
I think women and men need to take a stand, start allowing these people to show up in your life, wasting your time, playing games, and they're only there for their own self-benefit. They're not there to serve you. They're not interested in serving you. They're just interested in getting what they can get. And I'm gonna tell you, I think I heard Dr. Omar talked about this, and I don't agree with a whole lot of stuff that he says, but he said you got spiritual vampires seeking out relationships, and they just sucking the blood out of you.
That's
and
it.
They not giving anything back to you. The only thing they do is just sucking the blood out of you, and they won't show up as the vampire at the beginning because they're trying to weed you in. But after 3 months, they can't keep it up, so the real person shows up.
Right.
And guess what? And this we're not doing. What we're saying to you all, single people, please understand that your validation is not based on what relationship that you're in, is not based on shoes and cars and houses and all those things. Please put your validation in Christ alone. So when someone comes up that does not know how to recognize your value, you won't tolerate them. You won't put up with their nonsense. And then now they're drawing you back into something that God done delivered you from. God done gave you your self-esteem back. God done gave you your self-confidence. God done gave you your value back. Why are you dealing with somebody who's trying to take that away from you, whether they realize it or not? If not, then it's your job to discern how this person is showing up in your life.
That's it. And you're the one who have to listen. I believe no one could do anything to you except you allow them.
Correct.
That's it. They can only do what you allow. And it's up to you to have enough and enough confidence and enough strength to say, I don't deserve this. I don't have to take this. I don't have to take it, and I won't take it. In other words, but you have to know, and a lot of this goes back to us knowing who we are. Knowing who we are. If you don't know who you are, you're going to allow somebody else to tell you. You're going to take what they say. But listen, get to know who you are. Spend time with you. Spend time with you and get to know who you are, so you can understand that you don't have to accept this and that and this and that from any and everybody.
Correct.
You know, I said to myself, well, listen, you come in this relationship, I have something to offer. It was at one time I didn't feel like I had anything to put on the table, but baby, I have stuff to put on the table. So you say, oh, well, I'm gonna take you to DR. Well, we can, but I just want you to know I've already been there twice. So I just believe that when someone coming to my, they're adding. They're not making me. They're not making me whole. Right. I'm already whole. But what they're doing is add where we should be able to be an additional asset to each other.
Correct.
That's what we should be.
And you know what? And everything doesn't have to be up, because I can respect the fact that you don't have no money. But what I cannot respect that you won't give what you have.
Right. Because somebody, listen, one of us might make more money than the other, but guess what? When we put it all together, we can have something.
Correct. Well, you may not have this to offer, but you have your time to offer.
Yes.
You have your emotions. You have things that you can offer, where there's no reason why you're not offering it. And if you're not offering it, you're not offering because you don't want to offer it, not because it's, and then at the same time you saying that you love somebody. See, y'all, this is what I'm saying to y'all. Yeah. Stop listening to what they're saying and just watch their actions. Y'all are women. and men, you are too old. We've been in this thing. It's too much knowledge and wisdom out here now for you not to be deceived for a very long time. See, for me, I'm just the person that give a person the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
What I'm doing, I'm collecting the data. But hear me
Yeah.
what I tell you, I'm collecting data and how you've been behaving and how long you've been behaving this way. And I'm just waiting. And I'm talking to God about all the data that I'm collecting. Trust me. This is how I move. Talking to God about all the data that I'm collecting that I can clearly see that are red flags. God, I need you to talk to me about this. But see, I'm data collecting. I'm just not jumping ship as soon as I see something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need to data collect for as long as you possibly can to see, okay, is this person bearing the fruit that the Bible is talking about?
Right. Right.
If I think that they are trying to idolize something more than the scripture, if you telling me folklore and make me think the folklore is more important than scripture, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Right.
I don't care about what no folklore is saying. The Bible says that we are operating. The Bible, it says we don't operate in the fruits of the spirit. If you, I don't know what you talking. You need to. The Bible is your guide and is what you go by.
Right.
So if I'm getting on your nerves, if you think that I'm coming off of a dude, God forbid, ain't nowhere in scripture where it tells you to respond to me as a dude.
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
And why would you want to respond to me as a dude?
Why would you?
Do you as a man?
Come on.
As a man, you know how men act. So why would you want to treat me like you treat your other men friend? Why? No matter how I'm acting. We all have off days, but I don't need you to match my energy. I need you to be able to de-escalate. I need you to be able to calm me down and show me, baby, you don't have to do it this way. We could have did it that way. But no, I'm crazy today, so you're going to be crazy with me. Well, the situation just going to be crazy because we crazy together. I don't understand. So even when I hear women say that, I'm going to match your energy. You ain't got to match my energy. Just walk off. Leave. Bye. Even in friendships, I hear people say, you come to me this way, I'm going to match your energy. We ain't got to do all that. We can just depart for the day.
We can depart for the day. Baby, listen, as a matter of fact, we ain't got to be mad. What we can do. This is what we can do.
Woo!
We don't even have to be mad. What we can do, we can decide that we need some. See, this is my thing. Y'all single people, no matter what your age is, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, especially if you're in your 40s, I'm gonna really say talk the 40s on down.
Yes.
Y'all women in y'all 20s and 30s, y'all can tolerate a little bit more. But see, we have a little bit more to lose when you start talking about 40 and the issues that with the 20s and 30s, what you got to be concerned about is that you don't constantly be dealing with a bunch of broken men that constantly causing you to dig a deeper hole and you more broken. You more broken than when you got with them. You ain't got time for that because now you're gonna take you a whole lot of work to get healed. But when you start getting into your 40s and above, you can't allow someone to come in and start tampering with your self-esteem. You can't allow someone to come in and start tampering with your self-confidence.
No.
You can't allow someone to come in to try to tell you how to submit to them when they have no clue and how to lead. Zero, zilch, none. Don't know nothing about leadership. Only thing they know, they know how to, they know ministry. And I'm telling y'all, ministry does not equate or synonymous to and how someone shows up in a relationship. They can lead a church, but they have no clue and how to be gentle and loving and sweet towards their wife.
Listen.
It's not synonymous.
It's not. Listen, you can say, I need somebody, in ministry, You can say that all day long. But you got to make sure even those that you find in ministry is right for you. Because I'm telling you, there's some out here, I've met them, that I've met men in ministry that have tried to treat me worse than a man I met on the street.
come on in here and
the man on the street know how was gentle to me. The man on the street knew how to give to me. The man on the street knew how to serve me, and didn't even too much know it wasn't even in Jesus too much, but knew how to do that. But I got a man from the ministry that wanted me to serve him, that didn't know how to treat me right, always looking for me to pay for the dinners, always no. So make sure when you get them out of the church that they're not just in the church, but the church is in them. Make sure that you seek them and you pray about them too. And oftentimes we think if we get one from the ministry, then he don't need much work because he in God. No. You still gotta pray.
Because they are some of the most. Don't even get me started with.
No, I'm telling you,
not all of them, not all of them, but
not all of them.
You are exactly right. How in the word you carrying the word, you preaching the word, and then so you don't believe in the fruits of the spirit.
Right.
What do you believe in? How the man that don't know Jesus knows how to gently talk to me and me with honor, and when we go out, I ain't got to pay for nothing. But how that happened? How you know Jesus and know the scriptures, and then you treat me worse than the man that don't know Jesus. That's because you got a demon. You got a demon.
A demon.
Let's call it what it is. You know what it is? They living a lie because they're preaching something that they don't believe in themselves.
They don't believe in it.
I told you that when I got married and when I noticed my fruit coming up after I got married, I called my sister and said, "Hey, I ain't saved." I recognize that my behavior didn't line up with my relationship.
That's it. And it must line up. We're not saying that you're not going to have a bad day, but it shouldn't be a habit. It shouldn't be a habit. It should be, I flipped out today, but I'm all right. I'm all right for the next 6 months. It won't flip out again.
Flipping out every day.
But every day.
But you ain't operating in the fruits of the spirit no days.
None.
You living a lie. You carrying a Bible and you teach a Bible that you do not believe in.
And you're hiding behind it.
And you trying to use scripture to justify you controlling and trying to dominate a woman or a man. Let me tell you one thing. You cannot dominate. First of all, let me clear up this lie. No, what God didn't give no man no authority over a woman. What God has done in the word, God has given man authority over his household. And part of that responsibility is to love his family like Christ loves the church.
Yes.
But God has not given you the power to take over another person's will. You live in a lie. That ain't what the Bible is saying. God does not give anybody the authority to take another person's will. What God has given you the authority to do, though, is love your wife like Christ loves the church. Yes. Raise your children like Christ in God, so when they grow up, they won't depart from the true gospel. That God has called you to be the example. That's the authority that he has given you. The authority is for you to live like an example in front of your wife, in front of your children. And so you can be a model for that. That's what Christ did for the church.
Right. And guess what? You can't get up there and preach to the nations and your house is tore up.
Beat it up.
You can't, because guess what? Your family is looking at you saying, yeah, you do all this here, but they don't know you when you get home.
Right.
No, you gotta listen. It starts in your household first. You need to fix it. If it's wrong, you need to fix that. And so this is the thing. And I think a lot of times when people don't want to address that, people don't want to talk about that, because you don't want to get in the house and again, we talking to single people right here. Please, married people, y'all see, I'm like B, y'all seek God and go to counseling, because we want everybody's marriage to be successful. Because I believe that there's a time I believe marriages can work if two people want it to work.
If two people come in the relationship for the right reason. Right. People just want to get married now just to see that they're married, so they won't be under the pressure of society. And I'm saying to these young people, stop rushing to get married. Just to prove something to somebody. That ain't no promotion. You just in a different status.
And who are you proving it to? Because really, the people that you're trying to prove it to really don't matter.
It really don't matter.
They don't matter. They don't even care, to tell you the
They
truth.
don't even care. And so I think it's important, especially older women,
Yeah.
right? When we start getting out of that age where our pools start getting a little shorter, right? Because it does, right? Like I wouldn't date somebody that's 40 something years old. I wouldn't date someone that's 45 years old, right? So
Right.
then now my pool, the age pool,
Yes.
gets now. I'm one of them persons. I don't have no respect of a person when it comes to color. Baby, they can be white, purple, green, yellow, orange. I don't care what color. I don't play that mess. I'm saying for real. Whatever God color man God wants to say, that's who I'm gonna love. That's who I'm gonna submit to. That's who I'm gonna honor. That's who I'm gonna respect. I don't play that game. I know a lot of people say, "No, I got to have a brother." Now my girlfriend here, you need them black. Okay, I don't necessarily
Need
got to
them.
have them black. Baby, I can have them whatever color God wants me to have. Okay,
Right.
and
Right.
so my pool is a little larger than hers. Okay,
Right. It
as a
is.
result of that, and so I'm very careful about. So I know that you need as we get older, our pool is a little less, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like I just said, that you want them around, a little bit around your age, and they have to be African American. I want them a little bit around my age, and I don't want them too much older because I need to be able to work out now. And this is a real issue. I need them to be able to sexually be able to work that out like they're supposed to. Now
Right.
that's just me. Now y'all do what y'all want to do. I'm just saying that's how I'm saying. I don't want them too older. Okay, y'all say
Right.
whatever, whatever. But what I'm saying is that there's a responsibility that I mean that there is this thing that as you get older, then your pool gets a little shorter.
Yes.
And so one of the things that my pool is, I don't care what color he is, but he must love God. He has to be emotionally mature. He doesn't have to be in the ministry. He just needs to know how to treat me well,
That's it.
me and how Christ loves the church. I will not tolerate anything outside of that.
Mm-mm.
You may think that I'm tolerating it, but make no mistake, I'm collecting data on your behind. And once I've had enough data on you to see how you gonna show up in my life, and I make the decision to leave, it's because what you have showed up as someone that does not understand my value, nor do you understand yours.
Right. Right.
So let me free both of us. Goodbye.
That's it. That's it.
Right? So we ain't
With
gotta be
no
mad
hard feelings.
and no hard feelings. It's just that what I realized, this is not what I believe God has sent me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want to wait on what that is. And I think that we have to add, like, let me get back to the older women. Older women, as you get older, your pool becomes a little shorter,
Mhm.
right? Because now, like I said, now you got to deal with age. I don't have the patience to deal with somebody. I might can do. And this is a big might. I might can do 48. Might.
Right.
Oh, and that's a big might. I would rather them be 50 and
Mm-hmm.
above.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my choice. I'll do 40 now, but I would rather them be 50 and above. And so that shortens out your pickings, right?
Right.
Now I got a bigger
Right.
pool than you, Ruth, because you got to have them crispy. You got to have them. No problem, Ruth. I ain't got no problem with it, baby. I
Yeah.
can have a
Yeah.
color.
I prefer. My preference is
Preference.
a man of color. That's what my preference. And I'll do 48. I don't want to do anything less than that. But
Yeah.
I'll try a 48.
Oh yeah, I
I
got a
typically
prayer on that one too.
Yeah, I typically like them either around my age or maybe, and I'll even do, because I'm 55. I'll even do 5 years. I'll even do 60. You know what I mean? But
I'll do 60, but with much prayer.
yeah,
With much prayer.
but I'll do the 48 between the 48 and 60. I would love to have somebody that's closer to my age. But I could expand. But yeah, yeah, and I've said to God, now God, this is my preference. African Americans is my preference. Now, if you want me to have anything other than that, I'm gonna need you to start working with me, because I don't know what.
Yeah. See,
I
my
need you. I need you to tell me that and be able to help me with my mind. Okay, but right now this is my preference.
well, if I just be honest, I've had better experiences with Caucasian men.
Okay.
Always have. I mean, and that's just a fact. and I'm talking about based on my own experience. I've
Yeah.
had better
Yeah.
experiences. I'm not saying that I have not met some knuckleheads,
Right. Right.
Caucasian. No, I'm just saying based on dating African American and dating Caucasian men, I've had a better experience with Caucasian men,
Mm.
and that is just hands down the truth.
Right.
And I think that can be in I think that could be there could be many reasons behind that, right? Because I one of the things because I've dated both race, one of the things that I notice is that even the way that they're raised, the majority of the times the way we were raised are totally different. And this is what I mean. White men, for the most part, has always been raised to grow up and get a good job and take care of their families.
Okay.
That's just what has been instilled into them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then they are not afraid of commitment, and nor are they afraid of it's almost like they prepare to have a family.
Yeah. Okay.
They prepare to have a family. Um, there's just certain things I've never had to struggle with,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But at the same time, dealing with dating African American men, there's still a relatability there that I don't necessarily have with a Caucasian, right? Because we understand our struggle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, they both have, especially if they're spiritual. Like, so it don't matter what color they're spiritual. I'm gonna connect with someone that's spiritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
No
Mm-hmm.
matter what color they are. But my number one thing that I look for is fruit, and how do they treat me?
Mm-hmm.
And I will not remain, or will I want to respect a man. I'm not submitting to a man that does not know how to honor and respect me. I don't even want him to lead me. I'm not even interested in you leading. And let me tell you, and this is another thing, women, when you make a decision to go, when you make a decision to leave, when you make that decision with great thought, through prayer. And when you make that decision to move on about your business.
Right.
Because a lot of times people make that decision and they're not really sure about making that decision. But let me tell you one thing, for me to get to that decision, that meant that I have tried everything
Yeah.
I know to do.
Yeah.
I've done everything. I've come to you gently. I've talked to you. I've tried to say this to you. You refuse. So when I decide that I'm done with you, you best believe I'm done with you.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
will take the Holy Ghost. It will take God, which I'm open to for me to ever come back that way again. Because it took me a while to get there. I just don't get there in a minute. I just don't get it takes me a minute and I'll keep coming to you. I'll keep coming to you. I'll keep coming to you. And once I realize that you just gonna be who you are, and when I decide that I'm done, I don't care if you get married tomorrow. You could, baby, it won't bother me now. You can go. You. When I'm done with you, you can go get married tomorrow. You can go have children tomorrow. You can, baby. As a matter of fact, you can come and get married on my doorstep, and it wouldn't move me none. I'll go, honey. It wouldn't bother me none. I'll throw you $1. It wouldn't, but because it took me a minute to get there,
Mm.
and see, once I'm there, I don't care who wants you after I don't want you.
Right.
And women, when you make that decision, you need to be done.
Yeah. And see, the difference with me is that it ain't gonna take me that long. I'm not going to, and that's just, that's just something in me. I'm not gonna let you linger. After I have come to you and have said this to you, and you don't make a change, and I come to you the second time and you don't make a change, I'm out. I'm not. You ain't getting the third. You ain't getting the fourth. You ain't getting the fifth. You're not getting it because I don't. Because to me already, you're not getting it, and I'm not gonna keep talking. So I'm just, and I don't expect the man. And if a man come to me and I won't change, I don't expect for him to stay with me because he realized that I'm just not gonna change. Okay, so I'm not mad at him if he say, but I've come to you. I've come to you several times and you didn't do blah blah blah, and so now I'm gone. That's good because that's exactly what I'm gonna do. if it's vice versa, that's what I'm gonna do, because I just believe that I ought to see somewhat of you trying to change after I tell you the first time.
After I told you the first time, and then why do I have to keep saying the same thing to you? Why I gotta convince you to show up for me? We ain't get ready to do that. No,
No,
what we get ready to do? I'm ready to jet. And like I said, when I'm done with you, I'm done with you. I don't care if Ruth, baby, you can get on a jet tomorrow and go fly and get married right there in Las Vegas. It could be all on the news. I'll sit right there and eat my popcorn and look at a movie.
and
Baby, I
see,
don't care because I'm done
yeah,
with you.
and see, even though I may cut you off quick, I'm the one that might give you a second chance.
See,
That's the difference.
see
I may
that's
cut you off quick, but I may give you another chance. Whereas B is like, like my mama and brother. When they are done, they are done, and it ain't no more chance. They ain't looking back. They ain't coming back. They don't. It's as if though you never even existed.
that's it. You know why? Because it took me a
That's
while
it. Yep.
to get there from the onset. Now, listen,
Right.
I've learned now. I'm gonna let God be God in my life. If God says to me, "Okay, I need you to open up your heart again,"
Right.
that's something totally different. But when I done sat there for a very long time, come to you over a period of time, and I ain't talking about no 3 months. I ain't talking about I don't come to you. I don't let you behave like this about 7, 8 months, and I'm still trying to work with you, and you still give me your behind the kiss. When I'm done with you, baby, you best know that I'm done with you, and you can go get married tomorrow. I don't care who you go get married. I don't care who wants you. I don't care who don't flip out. What, baby, your girls don't care
Right.
because it took me a minute to get here.
No, and
So
that's true.
what women do, they leave and they still worry about them. No, baby,
Right.
I don't worry about you. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm done with you. And what's gonna happen is you need to go think. Listen, when it was time when I had to make the decision to separate from my ex-husband, it took me a minute to get there. But when I got there and I separated, I made it very clear to him. Now you ain't gonna be calling me now. We ain't gonna be on no telephone yappity yap 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 because when I was in the house, you you didn't know how to treat me. So when I move out, we ain't about to be on no phone talking about yappity yap yap yap. We ain't doing that. Because
Right. Right.
the reason why I'm moving out is because you don't know how to treat me. So what we gonna do when I'm you don't call me now because it took me a minute. We ain't being on. Like people separate, and they still be on the phone.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shut that down real quick. I made it clear. Now you gonna be on the phone. Me talking about yappity yap 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 yap. Talking about what you hey. Now we ain't doing, baby. I shut that down before
Right.
when I'm
Right.
you ain't gonna
Talk
call me
about what? What we talking about?
about nothing because I was just in the house for 4 years with you.
Right.
What is it that you couldn't say to me in there that you need to say when I'm out?
Right. 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 Right.
It takes me a minute to get there, but when I get there, you gonna need Jesus to get me back there.
Yeah. And I realize that's different because I'm like, nah, I listen, I don't have the tolerance to take this here. I just don't. And that may very well come with me being single all the time and being by myself. I know that there are some things that I would have that I would need to take. And you understand what I'm saying? But from the onset, you acting crazy
Yeah,
from
but
the onset. I
these
mean,
people are you just dating. Yeah, you just dating. You putting up with you putting up with somebody letting this person stress you out and your hair. I mean, you all kind
from
of
the
stuff
start,
from the start. You just let
we're
this
not doing that.
person stress you out, and you ain't even married to him yet. Imagine being married to him. What you see now, time it by 10. Because
That's what they say.
you get married. If he won't show up for you now, he ain't gonna show up for you when you get married.
And my peace, I'm big on peace.
Ooh,
My peace
I need
is
my
important to me.
very.
And I'm not going to allow anybody, whether it's somebody I'm dating, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's co-worker, I don't care what it is. You're not disturbing my peace. And the moment I get a swift of my peace, feel like it's shifting, I'm going to have to go.
Peace out.
I'm going to have to go.
I gotta go.
Because my peace.
Disturb my peace at the age of 55.
I don't even let me disturb my peace. Okay?
That didn't get ready to happen.
Because if I get to acting up and acting crazy in this house by myself, I have to say, Ruth, you have to calm down. Because you Ruth, you got to calm down. Ain't nobody's in here but you. Calm down.
Y'all, I know we about to get off right now because we won't be almost out. I'm just saying to y'all, to the single people, y'all better get yourselves together and put your validation in Christ alone and stop letting crazy, immature church folks, some of these married folks put pressure on you to get married, and then you fool around and choose the wrong person, and now you in a jacked up relationship. And the day you listen, I hate to say this, but the day I left my husband was better than the day I said I do. You don't want to have that testimony.
No.
Okay, that's not a testimony you want to have. That I'm feeling much better since I'm no longer with you.
Wow.
No. Listen, when something is not working, see it for what it is, and I'm talking to single people now. When you're in a relationship and you see it's not working, you've given it time. Give it time. I know now Ruth's gonna tell you 2 times that I'll say give it time. And if the person still refuses within time, you need to start. But see, Ruth, let me tell you what, but Ruth, I see what you're saying, but Ruth, at the same time, let me tell you what I'll do. I'll give it time, but within that time, when I notice that you're not changing and you're refusing to change, I'm pulling a little bit of me back.
Well, I'm sure.
Every time I come to you, you refuse to do it, and you try to gaslight me and make it about you. I'm pulling a little bit of me back. By the time I'm done with you,
it's nothing for you anyway.
It ain't nothing there. I done pulled the majority.
Yes.
The way that I feel away from you from the onset, because it kept happening gradually. Right? It just didn't happen, promise me, when I told you it was over. It was happening gradually because of behavior. That's how I function. I'm just not one that just give up very easily. But what I notice when I come to you and you refuse, a part of me leaves the relationship. I'll come to you again and say, hey, this is what's going on. And if you refuse, a part of me leaves the relationship.
Right.
And by the time I get to the point of I'm done with you, ain't nothing else there.
Right. I mean,
so
no, I'm not. So listen. So no, and again, you're not going back. I mean,
thank God, it will most definitely take the Lord.
Yeah.
See, I'm very open, right? Because I don't believe you should never say never, right?
Right.
I do believe that you ought to allow God to be able to massage your heart in any situation. But if I I'm very prayerful. I'm very discerning, and I'm prophetic. So I know when something is not right.
That's it.
Do you hear me? I know when something, I can't always put my finger on it, but I know something is not right. And once I begin to see that, like I said, trust me, I'm pulling away a little bit by a little bit. I'm just trying to give the person the chance to come up.
Yeah.
And then when I leave with a clean hand, because I know that I have done all I possibly can do to show this person I'm here for you in an authentic and sincere way. And once I recognize that you are not there for me in that way, and that you're really here for your own selfish needs, is when I'm done. And it would, the Holy Ghost, it would take God for me to come back. No doubt about it. Because I started the process way before I told you it was over.
Right.
Like when I left my ex-husband, I had already left him before physical ever took place. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
For the actual physical move, I had already left him way before the physical move actually happened.
Yeah. I've heard people who divorced say that the divorce hasn't been over, but the signing of the papers is proof. but the marriage was way over before we ever got the initial paper saying that we're divorced.
100%. When I divorced my husband, I mean, I had zero feelings for him. Like there was nothing there. I mean, I wasn't in love with him, and I just didn't want him. And I was very honest with the Lord. I don't want him. I'm not interested. There was nothing there. And I was not going to pretend to the Lord like there was something there. I told God I did not want him. I was no longer interested in him. And I said, but God, I still will stay. If you want me in this, I believe you're going to give me whatever I need to be able to love him. But I'm telling you where I am. I don't want him, nor do I love him. And so, I was very honest with the Lord, and I was willing to do whatever God wanted me to do. And I think we are not honest with where we truly are. And I was totally honest with God in about every situation that I went to him in prayer about. I don't care in any relationship. I'm like, God, I am no longer interested in this person. And it is because in the way that they have treated me.
Yeah.
Period.
So I would say that if anything that we could leave tonight with the single people is that stay prayerful. Stay prayerful when you meet someone, and continue to go to God and hear what God is saying, and don't act like you don't hear it. Hear what the Lord is saying and take heed. Watch out for the red flags, because guess what? I believe that there are red flags. Sometimes we see them and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we see them and we ignore them. Sometimes we think, oh, okay, yeah, I know that. But once he get to know me, if I do this, it'll get better. Sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. Be prayerful. Know that you don't have to accept any and everything. Know that even though your parents may have been this way and your mama stayed in it and your daddy stayed in it, doesn't mean that you have to. Right. Just stay prayerful and know that God has the absolute best person for you. May not have been the best person for somebody else, but he's the best person. He or she is the best person for you.
Correct.
And when you meet somebody and you really feel in the depths of your heart that it's God, stand on it. Because there would be people who say, oh, no, he does or she that and this and this. It's too many people talking in your ear.
Correct.
Stand on what God is saying.
And watch the fruit.
That's it.
Listen, love is just not you saying somebody I love you. It said it does not speak its own. It's the person speaking their own. Mm-hmm. It does not boast. It's the person boastful. It doesn't operate in pride. Does he seek you over himself? If those things are not, the Bible is clear. Does he show the fruits of the Spirit? Mm-hmm. Is he gentle? Is she gentle to what? I mean, these things are there for you to decipher if this person, are we better together or we not?
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is why we won't use what God has given us to be able to determine if this person is a good fit for me. And once I look at the word and once I see what the actions are, I don't care what they're saying to me, I'm out of it.
Yeah. Have you heard the saying, actions speak louder than words? That's because our mouth can say a lot of stuff. But again, if it's not being demonstrated by your action, then what you say doesn't matter.
They're lying to you. Do you understand me? They're lying to you. Women, come on now. They're lying to you. Men, come on. They're lying to you.
Yeah. Don't as women, we're emotional beings and we're nurturers. But don't allow our emotions and that nurturing spirit that we have to blind you to really what is.
Right.
To really what is.
It is what it is. Okay. It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
And it's okay. It's okay not to be okay with that.
It doesn't annoy me when I feel like somebody has wasted my time.
Right.
Right? Because you knew.
Coming in.
You were. That's and right. You try to hide.
Yeah, right.
But some of you knew going in that you didn't have you didn't have the relationship skills to be in one, and you knew, but what you thought you could do because the person is who they are, you think you could squirm your way around in the relationship without having to show up. And y'all don't ever let nobody think they can show up in your life without answering the call to service. They don't want to answer the call to service, get rid of them. You ain't got time to be trying to have no conversation with them. But why you don't want to serve me, baby? You ain't got to serve me because I ain't gonna serve you either. So let's go and end this.
Right. And you're right. There are some men and women go into relationships and they know they have ulterior motive. They know that they really don't mean no good to you and they don't want anything. So why? I always say, why bother single men or women if you know that that's not what you want? If that's not what you want, leave them alone. Leave us alone.
They come in the relationship looking for things, trying to looking for things and looking for their own. Baby, that's how you want to enter into a relationship.
Right.
You don't want to enter into a relationship being honest about really why you here. You here just to because you think. I mean, come on, y'all. We just got to go up and we got. So that's all right. But you know what? God is holding people responsible these days and times. So we ain't got too much, baby. God coming through there like a mighty rushing wind, honey. God is exposing folks left and right. So only thing you need to pray. I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna leave this with y'all. Pray this right here. We pray this prayer right here.
Yeah.
Lord, bring the hidden things to light. You just gotta pray. That's it. And I guarantee you that who they really are will start coming out.
Listen, and be ready because it's coming.
That when he begin to show you, you exit. And I'm talking about the single people now. We talk to y'all married people.
Right.
Not even a whole different thing. So y'all, we enjoyed you all for sticking with us. We know it's been 2 hours. We're gonna talk long again, y'all. We will not do 2 hours again.
No,
we ain't gonna do 2 hours again. But the bottom line is that we wanted to share what we were just talking about privately. Ruth, I think people will benefit from what we were talking about. Let's go live and let's talk about it. And so Yanita and I love y'all. We pray the blessing of the Lord with you all. Oh, Ruth, you got any upcoming events that you're doing?
No, I don't have any upcoming.
Y'all, every Saturday morning, I'm in these streets and these praying for the spouses streets. Okay, we're praying for manifestation every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. on my YouTube channel. We talk about a skill set that you will need, and then we go right into prayer. So you can join us at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm normally on there probably between 30 and 35 minutes. I'm not on there very long. Talk about a skill set, I go into prayer, and then it's done. And I do that because I think that we want to be in a relationship, and we just do not have the skill sets to be in them. And then y'all won't make a decision to go to counseling, right? You won't go get individual counseling. So since some of y'all ain't gonna go to individual counseling, I felt led of the Lord to lead me to start praying for the manifestation of spouses, whether male or female, that you believe in God for, and then go over a skill set that will be very helpful for you in a relationship. And how do I know that? Because I was married for 8 years, and I know some of the mistakes that I made and some of the things that I could have done so much better to add to that ministry of service. But we were just two very broken people that really did not need to be married to each other. But since God allowed it, I've learned so much from that relationship. And that was so many years ago, y'all. I've been divorced much longer than I've been married. And so I just want to share some of the things that I've learned when I was married, so you all don't have to walk in the same or fall in the same thing. And one of the biggest things that I see with women and men, you got to stop being desperate for a relationship and find your validation in Christ alone, so you can rightly divide who's in your presence.
That's it.
Period.
That's it. Be careful around this.
Correct. We love y'all, and if the Lord lead us again, we'll do this again.
Yes.
Good time. Y'all share this with somebody y'all think that will need it, and y'all have a great one. Bye, y'all.